Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie. It's day 16, the last day of round 2. Welcome to the Bourbon Van's 2023 Advent Whiskey Tournament, presented by Bull Run Distillery and their extensive award-winning line of craft spirits.
I almost didn't think that we were going to make it for a little while there. Yesterday's video, 4 different whiskeys. We couldn't agree on anything. We didn't split as much in last year's Advent tournament. And this year, we're all over the board. There's a lot of whiskey on the table. The next round is going to be very confusing. But today, we got it nice and simple, the way that we like it. Whiskey number 21 versus whiskey number 29. Where are they at here?
21. Oh, and there's a cat.
Hi,
and
cat.
29.
One of these beat Bernheim Barrel Proof Wheat Whiskey. The other
right.
one beat 13th Colony Rye. I think we're in for a treat because I like both of those whiskeys. Let's get right to the nose with glass number 1.
Just checking out the color real quick.
Yeah, I was actually admiring these when I sat down. One of
Yeah.
them is kind of a dark goldy color. This one over here on the left is a little red tinge to it, a copper almost.
Sometimes when it's too red, I keep thinking, it's a finished.
Yeah,
It's
maybe.
just so colorful, so it's kind of nice to see just your
whiskey
Basic.
wearing a bronzer.
your basic bourbon colors.
That smells very nice. Maybe a touch farmy.
Yeah, there's sweetness, oak,
Yeah.
but there is a hint of grain,
A little craft,
farminess
yeah,
underneath.
maybe a little sneaky crafty.
Wow, we're drinking the same thing, right?
Yeah, these are different.
What the heck is in glass number 2?
Yeah,
Not
that
that
smells delicious to
Not
me.
that it's bad. It's just potent and
That's decadent and rich.
wow.
It smells like it's going to be creamy, glass number 2.
Yeah, let's see.
And who doesn't love a creamy whiskey?
Yeah. Cheers.
What am I talking about?
Little nuttiness on the nose. Baby hint on the palate. Nice vanilla.
Oh, that's got great flavor.
Nice oak.
It brings a nice vanilla hit. That's just like right down Main Street vanilla.
It's
And-
not trying to overcomplicate this drink.
Right.
One sip, a baby sip in, and I think, oh, it knows what it wants to be, and it did it.
Yeah. Yeah, but well done. Well executed.
Well executed.
Yeah, not overly complex, not overly layered, but what we get there, and we're only 1 sip in, 2 sips in, quite nice.
Good heat on here.
It does dissipate a little bit quickly, but it settles on a singular flavor, and that's
Yeah.
vanilla frosting. Very nice. I think it's great. I do think that there's the prevailing thing aside from that vanilla is heat. I do think that this
There-
has some proof to it.
Yes, I would agree. I don't know what it is right now, but, if I initial guess, like teens.
Yeah, 1 teens, 120.
Yeah. Are you doing another sip? No.
No, I'm going to cleanse the palate.
Okay, then I'm going to do that too.
I'm worried that glass number 1 could blow glass number 2 off the table here proof-wise.
Wow, these taste different. This tastes really different. Ooh, this is going to be fun.
Oh, I think glass number 2. Oh, hang on. I'm just going to sit with this for a minute.
Yeah.
Because there's flavors coming through that I don't get a lot, and I have to actually think about what in the heck they are.
The first take of that, you're like, meh. And then here comes the train, right?
Man.
Like, here comes the flavor train, and I feel like
Woo,
the flavor
woo.
train was a Food Network thing.
Wow, all aboard the flavor train. I like that very much. I'm having a lot of trouble picking out what these flavors are because it is so familiar, but it is so far back in my brain.
The front of the palate is not my favorite, but it's rich and oaky, and there's almost like a coffee note in the middle, a little bit of, like rich leather that comes through at the end of the palate, which is really nice.
That's all accurate.
Sometimes I think, not always, because you need to be wowed by that first sip. The finish sometimes matters more. Like if you're like, I don't know if I like it, and then get hit by those flavors and then it lingers, that's
Yeah.
what you remember, right? You remember a really good finish. And if you can still taste it while sitting here for 5 minutes, I like that.
Yeah, I actually think that that's what brought me around on Scotch whiskey. Because so many really good well-aged Scotch whiskeys have that extended finish of it's almost indescribable. The way that it coats your palate, you feel like you're drinking something decadent, even when it's low proof, even when it's relatively affordable. There are a lot of Scotch whiskeys that hit my palate that way. This is definitely the farthest thing from Scotch in terms of flavor profile, and I think that this is a higher proof than most of the Scotch whiskeys that we've tried as well. But what it does have in common is that there's a decadence, a richness. You feel like you're drinking something special and possibly elevated just from the experience. Glass 2 has that fantastic experience.
Yeah, we're talking really highly of Glass number 2. We've said some things that aren't super high on Glass number 2 either, but I agree with everything you just said. There's some apricot notes in Glass number 2 mid palate that I've been really enjoying, like honeyed apricot. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to go back to Glass number 1 because I liked Glass number 1. I didn't really discuss it too much because I was like, oh yeah, this one's good.
Both of these are very flavorful, very palatable, very enjoyable. I can see why they're in this round, and this is a tough matchup.
Back to Glass number 1.
I don't know if it's been enough time. It's been like 10 minutes. Is it enough time?
I know. But I feel like we've talked up Glass number 2 so much that like...
Gotta go back.
Yeah, we definitely have to go back. Maybe it was good that we didn't need to talk about it.
This is the barn experience now on the nose. Not that that's a bad thing. I actually really like it.
It's a little bit weedy, but it also has a bit of a Frey Ranch nose to it.
I would agree with that. It's farmy in the best possible way. Vanilla, some hay, not grassy. Really like dry, straw, old wood. I mean, it's reminiscent of walking through a barn, and I love it. I love that about it. It's a lot of things that I really, really enjoy.
I'm just gonna let you keep talking. You're doing a great job this I don't have really anything to add to that. Glass number 1 is delicious. It's a little bit more on the subtle side than Glass number 2.
Even though it's got a punchy proof point.
Even though it does, yeah. We say this every day.
Seems like it. I know what you're going to say. Yeah, exactly. This one's
I don't know where I'm
interesting
going to go.
Because we said a couple of times, like, we like it when the flavors are close because then you can just pick apart the whiskey and see which one's a higher quality. But when they're further away, it's sometimes even harder because you have to take that into account. You can't just say, oh, my palate prefers this whiskey type or this whiskey type. It really comes down to not palate preference, not the, which one coats better, what's the better finish, what's the better aroma. It comes down to the overall experience. That's really what we judge on here, which, we're not professionals, so whatever. But this one's tough. Bottom line, what I'm trying to say is this one's tough.
And I'm just going to say, you got to wow me today.
Wow me with that last sip.
Wow, there's something powdered sugary about Glass number 1.
Yeah, there's a confectioner's sugar that shows up.
Yep.
And it's almost like the tail end of the palate, the beginning of the finish. That's a great way to wrap up a sip.
Yeah, it's strong. It's... And who doesn't love powdered sugar?
And we don't get that on a lot of whiskeys.
No.
I mean, the one that comes to mind off the top of my head is Old Forester Statesman. That's not Old Forester Statesman.
No.
Not even close.
Wow, and it took me a couple sips to get that, but it is... Yeah, I said something I wanted it sticky, and you know how powdered sugar can be sticky?
Yeah,
that's
clingy.
what this is doing.
Man, this one is like an ex-girlfriend in high school. It is super clingy. Wow.
Or boyfriend.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm just talking from
just
my
high school
personal
people
experience.
in general.
I have a decision.
Wow. Okay.
We'll take a minute.
I'll take a minute. If I remember correctly, the first season I was wearing this hat, and I think that was the drink out of the bottle.
Do you want me to get you some bottles?
No.
Any bottle. You don't have to drink out of that one. I walked away for a second, and the glasses are empty.
I'm unconvinced on this one.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, that was actually a lot easier for me than it was for you.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Glass number 2 brought so much to unpack, so much flavor,
Yes.
so much complexity, so many layers. For me, that was an easy decision. And so there you go. Glass number 2 moves forward for both of us.
Yep.
Which means we get to open an envelope.
We're eliminating number 21 today.
We sure are. Every time you open one of those, I try to peek, and I just see that it's a Far Side comic. I don't
just
get
a
any
Far Side,
information.
I know.
Just Far Side comics.
This is our friend and yours, Russ D. Wow.
He is our friend and yours.
I will say, this is the first time that I've actually liked this brand. This
Really?
is not a brand that I have particularly liked in the past.
I can't wait to find out.
It is not stated 120 proof, so these babies were not low in proof.
Glass number 1 here, real hot.
So apparently we need Cask Strength on this. Rebel Cask Strength.
Okay,
Yeah.
Rebel Cask. The last time that we owned a bottle of Rebel whiskey,
Yeah.
it was still called Rebel Yell, so it's been a minute.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Rebel out of this tournament. That means Rebel was up against Bernheim. Great matchup. Thank you so much to everybody who donated, and of course to Peach Coke for putting that matchup together.
Yeah.
Very smart, very cool matchup. That means that whiskey number 29 progresses into round number 3, and that's the end of round number 2. It's over. Round number 2 is done. I'll bet. Do you think everybody's brackets are 100%?
100% of 100% of participants.
I'm sure exactly that. Thank you so much for joining us for round 2. Round 3 starts tomorrow.
Oh
we
my gosh.
can't wait to start sipping and bring you all that fun stuff. And from wherever we are,
To wherever you are.
is there any whiskey left?
Nope, I drink it all.
Cheers.
Cheers. The holiday season is almost here. Boop, 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 boop.
What?
Was your whiskey hand selected by the Bourbon Van? If not, it should be. Click the link below in the description and get yours today.